Initializing podcast. Welcome to Cardrunners, a Cyberpunk TCG podcast.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Cardrunners, a Cyberpunk TCG podcast, part of the Maindeck podcast family. I'm Dan.
Hello, and I am Kel, also known as Red Zone Rogue, and I'm very happy to be here. How are you doing this week, Dan?
I'm doing good. I probably got a little bit more sleep over the weekend than you did, I'm going to assume. But I think we're all really excited to hear about everything that you managed to see related to the Cyberpunk TCG at Anime Expo. Kel, welcome back.
Yeah, thank you. AX was in equal parts fun, exciting, and exhausting. I'm extremely exhausted. Yeah, I do have a lot to talk about. I was there for a different game. I was actually there on behalf of Cygames. I was the MC and host for the Cygames special stage at Anime Expo, specifically for Shadowverse Worlds Beyond. I was basically stage host for 3 out of the 4 days. Well, the only days that they were doing it, but it was 3 out of the 4 days for AX. And during my time there, I did make a point to go say hi to our Chooms over at the Cyberpunk TCG booth. A couple times, and I have a lot to talk about. Everything from the demo decks. I got this beautiful Rebecca that we'll show off a little bit later. I talked to the real life Rebecca, the voice actor, so cool. And a bunch of other stuff. So we'll get into that once we get into the main topic.
Yeah, very excited to hear that. I was a lot more boring at home working on videos and stuff. But so jealous watching from afar for 4 days as everyone was showing off all the coolest things. And we had obviously the Rebecca promo was everywhere, but there is also the AX bundle that people can pre-order for about $175. I think I'll have a picture on screen here, I think. But this is a super sick bundle, promo cards, playmat, deck box, dice, that is up for pre-order, and link is down in the description. Cal, did you get it? Did they have it like there at all, or was it just the pictures?
They might have, but I'll be honest, I didn't see it.
Okay.
Most of my time was actually spent talking directly with WeirdCo staff, playing a little bit, checking out, like talking with the cosplayers and stuff. But most of my time was chatting with WeirdCo staff. I actually saw it first in my own community Discord, in the Rogues Gallery Discord. And it makes me actually want to ask you a question too, especially before I start gassing up Cyberpunk and WeirdCo, because I have a lot of really, really good things to say. What do you think about the price on this thing? It's like $170. It's like almost $200. It's kind of expensive, right?
Yeah, it's a hefty price. I think these are Dispel dice, though. I guess I didn't 100% confirm that.
That's a good thing to note. If they are those really, really nice, like well-crafted dice, that does change it a little bit, because those are expensive dice, right? Those are like $60, $70, $80 dice anyway. Yeah,
you if you compare the prices of things here to what was on the Kickstarter, okay, so deck boxes, those are going for around, on the Kickstarter, those are around 40, I feel like 40 or 50. I can't remember.
I was going to say anywhere between 40 and 60. I would have believed you. I don't remember what they were, even though I bought 2 of them.
Yeah, I know.
The bundle.
I did too. And I might be mixing them up with we got
the Preem deck boxes. Those are more expensive. Yeah, I got the expensive ones.
Okay. I had to pull it up here myself to double check this. So 6 acrylic dice. So I guess it doesn't say that they're like Dispel dice, and they don't look like they're not like translucent with any sort of insets. So these aren't quite as fancy as those. Deck box does look very similar to the rest of the deck boxes, though. So I don't know, what would I say these are worth? Playmat, let's say 30 to 40. Deck box, let's say I'm going to go to the higher end on these, just based on how the Kickstarter price were. So let's say 40 for playmat, 50 for deck box. Dice, if they're not the inset dice, 30-ish maybe would be something. If they're still probably nice, they're just not there. And then you get the 2 promos, which is kind of hard to put like a price on.
Yeah.
I'd say we're like, it's not too far off of kind of what I would what I would expect it to be, and if these promos end up being worth anything.
Yeah,
then,
it's hard to factor the promos into it.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. For me personally, I think it's a little expensive, but I guess it'll come down to the price that folks are willing to pay for something like this, especially if it's like a limited thing.
Yeah,
but I could compare it to other similar type things and other similar type things. They don't have dice. Keep in mind that I've experienced with less nice deck boxes are usually around $90. So Bandai does stuff through their premium Bandai thing that it comes with like a playmat, like a cardboard box thing, and like a deck box, and a bunch of promos. Usually like a lot of promos. Like we're talking like 20, but at least for Gundam, it's usually like let me do the math, 10, like 16 to 20 promos. But the deck box is different. It's just one of those Japanese style like Velcro deck boxes, and then doesn't have dice, so we'll see.
Yeah, it's tricky. One thing I like, if I look at something like this and think about recent Riftbound box bundles that they've sold.
Yeah.
I mean, those you would buy a set of like 6 promos for 50 or 60 or $70. I can't remember what I like paid for the arcane ones. And then people wanted to buy those. Actually, I think right now you can sell those boxes for $200 to $300. So,
well, yeah, Riftbound's kind of doing its own stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting question though when you look at something like this.
Like I think Riftbound charged more than they Riftbound charged more than any other TCG would for something like that though, because once again, I was at Daivangasai Card Game Festival in Tokyo earlier this year, and a bunch of other Japanese games did that, like Bandai and Bushiro Games, and I bought the one for Shadowverse, so it came with 6 special textured foil leaders, and it was like $40, something like that.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I think when you look at this set, you want to decide if you have. I mean, if it's no problem to you and it looks super cool, absolutely grab it.
Yes.
If you're trying to figure out if this is where your money should go when you only have so much to spend on your hobby and Cyberpunk is about to launch, I would say that there is a possibility that these end up being worth a lot more afterwards. They are being printed, I think, to order though. It's this pre-order process is still open. It's not like they sold out in a day or anything. As far as we're recording this and releasing the episode, if it ends in the near future, after these get out and after the game launches, I could see people paying a premium $250 to $300 for this bundle. However, that is far from a sure thing, and I would not just like buy this to spec on it.
Good. Okay.
At all. I think that's my.
I was about to say that. Good. Okay.
It's not. I don't. There's no financial advice about any of that. I'm just like want to say I think it's possible, right, with this, but it's like right now, if you're like, man, I really want to get a cool deck box and dice, you definitely can get these. But I think for Cyberpunk, there's going to be no end of extremely cool deck box and dice sets that are going to come out over time. And if you're like, this is kind of a lot right now, then I don't think you need to like FOMO into buying it. Yeah.
If you wanted my general recommendation, I would say, and this is true for like any product like this, I'm like 100% on this. Only buy it if it's something that you really want. That's just how it is. And especially if you're like on a budget and you're like being like, should I buy this or 2 booster boxes of the first set?
Yeah.
Just get the cards, man. So get something to play with. That's always my recommendation. I'm very not, I don't want to say like against, but I'm very not pro buying stuff to spec on and hope it gets value and monetary stuff. No. I'm here for like, get the stuff to play with. And if this is something cool that you want to play with, absolutely. Especially if it's like a scene that you particularly love or hate from Cyberpunk. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I mean, like, I want to shout out WeirdCo in general for this whole process. This is definitely like a premium bundle with a premium price tag attached to it.
Yeah, but 100%.
a lot of companies would have just said, yeah, I don't know, we'll make 300 of these and go to town, 600,
True.
whatever, like, and they'll sell out immediately. And then these absolutely become like a speculator's market entirely. And
Yeah.
if you want them, it is now something where you are contending with bots who are going to buy them, and then you just have to pay the inflated price later on. But they made it so that you can just get these. If you like this price and if you like these products, you can grab it. Similarly, the Rebecca promo that you have, Kel, they had the announcement in the middle of AX where they said, look, this is going to still be available at Gen Con. There's a show in Japan. There's one other show. And I think some online ways of grabbing it too, they said, or something. So they're making it so that you will have ways to get these things and you don't need to feel extreme FOMO right now about getting these.
Speaking of the promo, it's something I'll talk about soon, but one of the things at AX, I think before they announced that, the promos, people were picking them up and then immediately trying to flip them on eBay, and prices were like $500 to $600. Mm-hmm. And after that, I haven't looked. I'm curious what they're going for now on eBay. I'm gonna look it up right now real quick. Let's see. Oh, yep, they dropped quite a bit. You can get one for $145. So yeah, they went from 500 to 145. Some people are still trying to sell them for 500, but there are people who haven't updated their pricing. There's like another one for 120. Yeah, so I actually do like that. As someone who literally owns one of these cards that was worth $500 like 3 days ago, I'm super glad that they're like, yo, we're giving this out to way more people, way more things. I'm very pro that. So good job.
Yep.
I'm not a big fan of FOMO stuff.
If you're paying attention to Cyberpunk right now, you should have opportunities available to you to be able to grab this card over time for sure.
I will say though, like if this card ends up being good, we actually don't know what the card does. It doesn't have any rules text on it yet. If this card ends up being good, then in like a year from now, this could be a $500 card again. So just saying, like if it's a good card and it's like, you know, super limited to this time period rather than like a couple events, this could be very valuable because it is a fan favorite character. So
yeah, it is something where I recommend people go out of their way at some point to try and snag one of them. Don't go crazy right now. Like you don't need to buy this card right now because it's literally the least there will ever be in the market right now.
Yeah.
But after a few of these cons, or if you're just like, if you happen to be at Gen Con, like make sure you go to WeirdCo, make sure you try to grab one of these because it is the kind of thing where having it in your collection, you'd probably be happy that you do at some point.
I kind of regret not doing this. I just didn't have time to after I saw some people were doing this, but some people are getting, I'm sorry, I forgot her name. I'm so bad with names, but the voice actress for Rebecca was there and I saw some people get their cards signed by her and that was cool. I regret not doing that. So I would have loved to do that.
Hopefully another opportunity will come your way, Kel, and you can, make up for it. But yeah, that's, I think we keep dancing around it. So let's just charge into the rest of our podcast here so we can get to the main topic and hear from Kel everything that he experienced Cyberpunk related at Anime Expo. Before we do, a reminder to our chooms out there that we will have Cyberpunk TCG product available to you guys at our sponsor website, jwwcards.com, in the near future. I feel so silly. This is our 13th time I've said this, but like at some point we will have allocations locked in and we'll be able to make sure we can serve the chooms everything that they need from, we'll have some amount of beta boxes as well as Welcome to Night City boxes, starter decks, anything that we're able to get, it will be available on there for people to pick up. So you don't have to FOMO into buying anything right now, but you should be going to your LGS before you go to us and see if they're going to stock the game. Tell them you want to buy it. Tell them you will be one of their regulars if they stock this game. But if they turn you down, we do have your back at jwwcards.com, and you can use discount code Maindeck or Red Zone to get 5% off your order as well. So don't forget to throw that in. It's so easy to forget a coupon code. We don't want you to forget that when you get to the end of your checkout process. But yeah, stay tuned. We'll have updates on that in the near future. Now, Kel, let's go to our favorite segment here. Make a choice.
You gotta pick one, Choom.
All right, Chooms. Today we're going to go over briefly our make a choice from the last episode. It was a really interesting one where we asked if the Chooms agreed with the sentiment that was being thrown out there. Is go solo the strongest keyword? And looking at this, we had a total of 51 responses here, which is actually a little lower than when Kel riled everybody up looking for which girl was best. But nobody's quite as attached to keywords as they are waifus, I suppose. So we have 51 people answering. 18% of you said go solo. Yes, it is the strongest keyword. 82% said no, jury's out on that one. It's not. We can't say it's the strongest, at least not quite yet. And I think this is basically kind of what I expected, right?
Yeah. I would like to mention I think the turnout might have been a little bit lower on this one as well, just because some people might not have played the game yet. I feel like a lot of the people watching might just be kind of waiting for their Kickstarter order to get here. I know I'm like that with other Kickstarters that I'm not like super like involved with at all. I'm just kind of like waiting for my stuff to get here before I actually give it a shot. So I think that might anything surrounding like gameplay and mechanics specifically, I feel might have a little bit of a lesser turnout until the actual first set comes out. Yeah,
and I mean, in general, we still have so much to see that it's hard to commit even knowing what we do to a keyword being the strongest or not. But I mean, I think there's one thing for sure. There was some nice commentary in the comments of the last episode as well about Go Solo in general, and people do respect the power of this keyword. It's just tough to put it on a pedestal like that at this stage of the game. I'm definitely concerned, though, anytime a Go Solo leader, a Go Solo legend is available for my opponent to use, you have to kind of start to play differently because you have to respect the power of that ability. Kel, now you have a non-mechanical question for our audience here. Go ahead and drop. What's our make a choice for today?
All right. So the make a choice for this week is one that can definitely apply to anyone who's interested in the Cyberpunk TCG. You don't have to have played it. You just have to have interest. And that's kind of what the question is. So my question is, do you plan on going to a major Cyberpunk TCG event in the next year? And specifically outside of your locals. And so by a major event, I mean like a regional, or maybe even see them at Gen Con or something like that. So any major event outside of your own locals. Do you plan on going to one?
So we're including things like cons, even if you're going to Gen Con just to check the game out, to demo it there or something.
If they have a big presence there, I would count that for sure. Because that could be like one of your main highlights of the show, right?
Yeah.
Like that'll be like a personal thing, whether that's going to be your thing that you're looking forward to the most.
Yeah, so make a choice on whether or not you're going to go out of your way visiting Cyberpunk at a major event of some kind, whether it be one of the official tournaments or a major con where they have presence. I will go ahead and answer this, Kel. Not at all. No, I'm just kidding. Obviously,
Dan's like, I'm not going to Gen Con anymore. I'm out. I'm leaving.
Yeah, this is one of those simple ones for us where like. Yep. Yeah. I mean, we plan on it. Definitely. We plan on being there. And I mean, I guess I can add a little bit of context here too, where, I will be at Gen Con. And I do plan to see the Chooms as much as I'm able to, although I am working like you were at AX, Kelly. I am working for another company at Gen Con, but I will do my absolute best to swing over to WeirdCo whenever I have the possibility to. But beyond that, of course, I am let's see. I am looking forward for sure to going to major events. I am not looking forward to trying to fit them into my calendar.
Sure.
Travel right now. Because for the last year and a half, as I started shoutcasting a lot of events, that plus any other things that I've gone to, Gamma, Gen Con, whatever, I am traveling about once a month. Sometimes internationally multiple times in a year as well. So it's a lot. It really, really wears on you. But that said, it's also an absolute blast and a dream in a lot of ways that I have the opportunity to do this. So like I try to count my blessings a little bit too. And I'm really looking forward to seeing everyone at those majors when I do get to fit them in.
And soon to be a Platinum Plus frequent flyer with whatever airlines he flies with.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, like for me, it's very similar. I'm not counting what I'm talking about today. So I'm saying, like, I guess for this question, in the next year or so, do you plan on going? So I won't count AX, but I do plan on going to more events, whether it be like their first like large tournament Grand Prix. I don't know what they're going to call them, but I would love to go to their first like big one, their big premiere event. I think that'd be really, really cool. And of course, if they're at any other thing that I have to be going to, I'd love to see them as well. And of course, as Dan mentioned, like he said, he's been doing a lot of shoutcasting recently. I'm also like I'm a full-time shoutcaster. I do shoutcasting for no less than 2 different card games right now. I would love to do shoutcasting for Cyberpunk. We'll see what happens, but even if I don't, I would still love to go to some of the events and to hang out with everyone and to maybe even play a bunch of games. So I would definitely love to.
We, by the way, just it's been a little while, so it might have just escaped you, but we do have the names of the organized play structure in general.
Do we know what it's called? So what is their GP thing called?
So a Grand Prix level event, I think that would be the Edgerunner Regional Open, because it's an open. So that's the highest level open event, non-invitational. And I believe it's going to be the placements in the Night City District Opens and the Edgerunner Regional Opens that should earn you invites to the Black Sapphire Invitational Championship, which then feeds into the Cyberpunk TCG World Championship. Okay.
Cool. Those do sound familiar, but it might have been at the time that I just assumed they were like placeholders or something since it's so early, but sure. Okay.
Well, at least, yeah, that's what they said then. So we'll see if anything has adjusted over time because, that was pre-alpha era. And as we saw, anything is down to change, including the core rules of the game. So
literally the core rules and like all of the cards, not even, I guess the Arasaka Legends didn't change, but like literally everything else did. I got Delamain Cab here.
Dude, the cab, it's so different now.
You get a Ready and Eddie if you steal something. He's actually quite good. Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, the new Delamain Cab, I love the theme so much that they put into that card. Now you take it for a ride and then it earns you an Eddie. It's like, it's so funny.
Yeah, you get paid. It's great.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Because it's a cab. Yeah.
Yep. They so much better than it just being a vanilla thing. Really, really happy about that. But anyway, Chooms, go ahead and hop on into the quiz down below and let us know if you plan to make it to a major Cyberpunk TCG event of some kind in the next year. Answer that down there. And of course, comment with what you are planning to go to, because maybe you are just talking about, I plan to see you at Gen Con, should be easy. Or maybe you're like, I am going to be at Worlds. I am going to make it there and I'm going to do anything it takes to get there. I want to hear all manner of your answers down below, as well as get those quiz answers so we can discuss them on the next episode. But I think I've talked a lot. Well, I've talked a normal amount, but this is going to be a lot of this is Kel's episode, really. I'll be prodding for questions and asking for some clarification and stuff. But Kel, it's time. Let's talk about what happened at Anime Expo.
All right, let's do it. So I'm just going to cut out anything that doesn't have to do with Cyberpunk TCG. Yep. So I was able to get some time in between my stage shows to go talk to the WeirdCo team. The first time I saw them, I'm gonna give you everything. I think it's more interesting that way. So the first time I actually saw them was on day 0 or day -1, however you want to say it. The day before AX is officially opened. I got there maybe around, it was like 5 or 6 p.m. to do rehearsal for my show, because it was like I said, I was the MC and stage host. So it was much more scripted than something like a shoutcasting or something like that. So quite a bit different than what I typically do. So I got there early. We did our rehearsal. It went really well. Yada yada yada. And then after the rehearsal, me and my co-host Shincha, who is like our champion for our Beat the Champions segment. He's like a tournament winner, Shadowverse player. He's very, very good. Also super kind and super humble. He and I decided to kind of just walk around the exhibition hall to kind of get an idea of what was like, what is everyone doing? So this is still, like I said, like day -1. And a lot of companies are still putting up their booths. We stopped by another TCG that Dan and I are familiar with, Grand Archive, and they were like halfway through putting up their booth. They were still scrambling. There's stuff everywhere. So I just kind of was like, hey guys, and I walked past. I didn't want to bother them too much. And then we walked over to the Cyberpunk area, and we kind of walked in on the WeirdCo team, kind of getting a nice little snapshot of the crew because they had literally just finished putting up the booth. And I will set the stage of like who's there. Basically everyone. They basically have their entire team there, from game designers, developers, creative leads, social media, people from CD Projekt Red, everyone was there. And so I was able to just say hi to them really quickly. They had to leave, but they were just like, hey, and I kind of did some handshakes and said hi. And then they left. So that was like my first interaction. Second interaction, day 1, arriving at AX at like 7 a.m. in the morning. The crowds were insane. I don't know if any of you have seen pictures, but let me just say, last year, AX had about 400,000 attendees. 400,000, 500,000 almost. That's how big we're talking. It's literally one of the biggest conventions in the US. It is the biggest anime convention in the world. So getting there, we get 7 a.m., day 1. The crowd was massive. And by the way, the crowds were like not well controlled this year for the most part, at least day 1. And so I actually ran into a couple of the, I'm trying to remember who it was. It might've been Kawa. I ran into a couple of the Cyberpunk guys, kind of like waiting outside of where the line was starting to pile up. And I was just like, oh, hey guys, shake hands, talk a little bit. I'll tell you about stuff that we talked about when I get to some other stuff, because I have an interesting thing to say about our podcast specifically and the interaction that I had with a lot of the Cyberpunk TCG members.
Okay. I haven't heard this at all, by the way. I'm really excited.
But anyway, the crux of the conversation, other than that, was I was just like, yo, do you know where the exhibitor entrance is? Because to roll it back a little bit, I was attending AX, but as someone who's working the event, I attend as an exhibitor rather than like a normal attendee or an industry. Industry usually means you're like with a media outlet or something. Like my buddy had a friend from TCG Player who was here as media or as industry. But I was here as an exhibitor, so we actually can get in early and you don't have to wait in any line or whatever because we're working it. So we have to, actually get in there to do stuff. So I was like, hey, where's the exhibitor entrance? I don't know where it is this year. And they're like, oh yeah, it's just over there. Just so they actually helped me like figure out where the hell I was going, because it was insane. There's just so many people. But we did it. We got there. So with some help from the WeirdCo crew, I was able to get in on day 1. And so fast forward through my first stage show and my first, I also was introducing cosplayers. That was another thing that I was doing. So after that, and after my first cosplayer introduction, I had a couple hours and I went to go say hi to some booths that I knew people working at. So obviously one of them was Cyberpunk. So I go and say hi to the Cyberpunk booth, and I get there and there is this awesome, amazing cosplay just kind of like at the front of the booth. And it was Atom Smasher. And there was a couple other there's a couple other cosplayers too, but I didn't get to interact with them. They were kind of off to the side. But I did see the Atom Smasher cosplayer. I was like, yo, this looks really sick. And then the people who are getting photos with him left, and I was like, hey man, can I get a picture? And he was like, yeah. And so I got a picture with the Atom Smasher cosplayer. So if anyone wants to see pictures of this, I posted it on my socials, which are like basically everywhere at Red Zone Rogue, one word. It was really good. I didn't know if it was like an official cosplayer. I don't think he was there on behalf of the Cyberpunk TCG side. He might have been there on behalf of the CD Projekt Red side. I'm not 100% sure. I didn't ask. I honestly didn't ask. He just looked amazing. The cosplay looked very professional. And so that was my first time like actually arriving at the booth when it was active. So the booth itself, basically they split it in two. So there's one half that was like the CD Projekt Red side, very focused on Edgerunners 2, as you would guess.
Yeah.
And then the other half was Cyberpunk TCG. I will say throughout the entire the entire event, they were always slammed. They were extremely busy all the time. And a part of this is, well, because there's a lot of hype around Cyberpunk TCG and a lot of hype behind Edgerunners 2. So that makes a lot of sense. But also notably changed from previous Anime Expo years, they booted all, or maybe I should say upgraded all of the TCG vendor's not the right word, all of the TCG exhibition booths to the main exhibition hall. In previous years, they were relegated to the entertainment hall, completely separate from the main exhibition hall where you have all the big shots like Toho, Crunchyroll, Ami, all the big things. So, Sega, Sony, yada yada. So usually for me, I'm usually there on behalf of Bushiroad the last 2 years. And Bushiroad had split booths. They had one in exhibition, but I was typically relegated to entertainment hall, and all the other TCGs and card games were at entertainment hall. This year was different. And after talking to not just WeirdCo, but to some of the other folks who were running TCG booths that I'm acquainted with and friends with, I basically found out because of the absolute inundation of anime gacha games, they put all of the gacha games in the entertainment hall, with the exception of like 1 or 2 TCGs that I'm not personally very interested in. I didn't actually go to the entertainment hall at all, other than just kind of like peeking in a little bit. I didn't actually go in and check it out. But they booted all the other ones that's like Grand Archive and Bushiroad and Pal World and notably Cyberpunk into the main expo hall. So the Cyberpunk booth was in the main expo hall. So it was like in a very trafficked area. It was actually very close to the Bushiroad booth, which was also slammed the whole weekend because of Pal World. So it's like Cyberpunk and Pal World were both just so many people. There's so many people the whole time. So trying to set the stage for what to expect. So the booth had a bunch of tables lined up, and it was mostly just demos. They didn't have a ton of they didn't have product on display or anything. They had some nice art and whatever, but it was just gameplay. Tons of tables. Tables are packed. The vibe that I got from talking with WeirdCo is that they were just full nonstop. So that's great. There's a lot of interest. And this was before they announced the stuff with the Rebecca promo. So it was just super, super packed. I think anyone who did the demo got a Rebecca promo. I actually got one little extra thing that'll showcase that they kind of gave me as a little gift that I do want to talk about. That'll be interesting. But anyway, so I got there. I chatted with some of the WeirdCo team, and then we basically talked about setting up time for my own scheduled demo. And so we did that for the next day. So we scheduled time for the next day. But I still have a lot more to talk about for this day in particular, because I was chatting with the WeirdCo team, and then talked with some awesome people. Once again, I'm really bad with names, so I don't remember everyone's name, but I talked with some folks from Organized Play, a guy from the UK, from Organized Play. I want to say very Scottish heritage. Shout out to you. I forgot your name, man. You might be watching this. And I will get to that in a second, because most of the people at WeirdCo that I talked to, first of all, I only have the best things to say. They're all extremely kind folks, all extremely passionate. And don't worry, I'm not going to gas up everyone, everything. I do have some stuff we'll talk about the cards in a little bit. As I hold up this kind of pringled card. We'll talk about that in a moment. But the WeirdCo team, awesome. I only had good things to say, and most of them not only immediately knew who I was and recognized me, but also mentioned Cardrunners specifically and said that they love watching the show and they watch the podcast every week. And couple of them were like, yeah, you're my favorite Cyberpunk TCG podcast multiple times. So
take that, Corpos.
I want to give a big shout out to the WeirdCo team and anyone watching. Our regular watchers, obviously, thank you so much for being here. But also a big shout out to the WeirdCo team watching as well. We also appreciate you for being here. And I do want to say, just the general vibe I got from a lot of the WeirdCo team is that everyone is like extremely passionate. And so I'm saying this as someone who comes from a long history in the TCG industry personally. I've been playing TCG since 1995, and as you've kind of heard based on what I've been talking about, I mean, I've worked with Bouchard the last few years. I was at AX on behalf of Cygames with a digital card game, but a card game, Shadowverse. And it really feels like WeirdCo essentially just kind of scooped up a bunch of extremely passionate people from throughout the TCG industry. Multiple people that I talked to over the weekend were at WeirdCo after working with a history of working on other TCGs. It's very much not what you would expect, and especially not what some critique that I saw online. People are like, oh, it's just a cash grab IP game. Quick, just get in quick, throw on some rules and be done. No. It's like extremely passionate people throughout the TCG industry. I talked to a guy who used to work at Legend Story Studios on Flesh and Blood. I talked to a guy who not only used to work on, you can probably guess who this one is. He used to work on Magic the Gathering. He used to work on Lorcana. He worked on like multiple other TCG things in the industry. He's now one of their lead game. Is he a developer or designer? He might be one of the lead designers. He was great to talk with. He and I nerded out about card games quite a bit. And that's the kind of people who are on the team. Like people who are extremely knowledgeable and extremely passionate about trading card games. I talked with a guy who just started, who literally worked on the original Legend of the Five Rings, since like Diamond Edition. Like he and I were or maybe he started a little bit after Diamond Edition, but he and I chatted at dinner, and we'll get to the dinner in a moment, quite a bit. So it's like, I thought it was super cool. It's a bunch of like people that I would consider like as being like someone who's like obsessed with TCGs. These card games are like my life. These are like kindred spirits to me. And so it was very, very cool to see. And all the other people that I met, even if they weren't previously from TCGs, very nice, very welcoming. It was, I only have like the best things to say about the WeirdCo team. So if you do have a chance, by the way, to go to an event and say hi, go up and say hi. They're very cool. And so now that I've kind of gotten my spiel about the WeirdCo team, I'll regale you with the rest of the events. And so I was chatting with the team, and then specifically On from the team, I was chatting with him and maybe Richard, and On was like, hey, we're having a dinner tonight for like the WeirdCo team and like friends of the WeirdCo team, and certain media people, maybe some content creators, and we'd love for you to go. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I'd love to go. It was actually fortuitous because that was the one night that I actually did not have dinner plans. Wow. I had dinner plans with my Cygames team the following night, and then the night after that I had plans with a TCG player. And so I was like, this actually perfectly lines up. And so after I had done all my stuff for the day, this was my long day. I was basically there until the convention closed at 6. I actually just went to check on the WeirdCo team. They gave me the information to get to the restaurant. But I was like, I'll go see if they're still here and just kind of like chat, and maybe we can carpool or something. And so I did that. And so I walked over to the Cyberpunk booth. And they were still there. And so I spent another like 2 hours and hung out with them while we waited for dinner. And then I ended up walking over with a good chunk of the team. And so that's how I kind of spent the rest of that evening, just kind of like chatting with people from Cyberpunk. We just kind of like walked over. It was like a 20-minute walk or so. That's where I got a lot of the information that I just told you about, my thoughts with the people who work on the game, because I did get a lot of time to spend with and actually chat with them about not just Cyberpunk, but a lot of stuff, a lot of like just generic TCG stuff, a lot of reminiscing, talking about, like I said, L5R, talking about magic design. The magic designer we were talking pretty deep, and he designed some pretty like very well-known things. So like, if you liked the Final Fantasy set, he was one of the designers on that. If you liked a lot of stuff before that, he was also the designer on that. So that's the kind of like the pedigree that the WeirdCo has. So anyway, so let me fast forward a bunch now, because we had dinner. They had an open bar. It was cool. I didn't drink too much because one, I'm not a big drinker, and two, I was literally going to be on stage at like 9 a.m. in the morning. So that's not a good idea to consume alcohol the night before. So fast forward, I have my demo. And so for my demo, so like fast forward to like the next day. So for my demo, we scheduled a time. I went and met them there. And then I sat down for the demo. So my demo is actually against Richard Zapp, who is, he's got a lot of titles, but essentially he was one of the, if not the creators of the game. I'm not sure what his 100% title now is. He might be lead game developer or designer. He's one of those. So he's very, very knowledgeable. So I sat down with him for our demo game. So I have the demo decks here. And for the demo game, it was pretty interesting. So I played with the new, it is called the Heist. So I played with the Edge Runners. So I played with the Heist deck. And then he played with the Embracing Power deck, which was, we previously would know it as the Arasaka deck, but it's changed quite a bit. There's not a ton of, I mean, there are Arasaka cards, but I mean, like, as we saw, like the Swordwise Hustle is no longer Arasaka. It's just a Merc. We talked about why they changed this too. It's interesting. I'll give you a little tidbit. So this one in particular, they changed it from Arasaka to Merc because it's actually depicting, the character in the art is depicting V. This is like V in the artwork.
Oh,
and
yeah, sure.
They didn't want it to be like too confusing having this as an Arasaka tag, but V looking like Street Kid in the artwork. And I was like, technically you could do that. Like you could start off as like Corpo V working for Arasaka and then just change your clothes. But still, they wanted it to line up more cleanly in the actual like depiction and mechanics. So that's why this one's no longer Arasaka. So like we had a couple of like little anecdotes like that. And so Richard was playing with the Corpo deck, and I was playing with the Edge Runner deck. Most of the time we spent talking about like mechanics. It's weird playing with the deck after playing a bunch with the Alpha Kit, because like everything's different. Everything's the cards have the same art, but it's super different. And there's also just some cards that I've never seen before that I think are spoiled now, but when I played, they were not spoiled. So there's stuff like Dexter Deshawn, who Dexter Deshawn, he's a 3-cost, 5-power fixer. He requires 2 yellow, 2 yellow ram, and it says on play and attack, you can adjust the gig by up to 1, which is interesting. And then when he's defeated, if your street cred differs from a rival's by 10 or more, you draw 2 cards. Now, I want to bring in up the draw thing, because this is something that I talked to Richard about, and I thought was really interesting. I was like, oh, draw, that seems really good. And he's like, yeah, we actually added more card draw to the game because we felt that it made it like flow a lot better based on how on the speed of the game and a bunch of other factors. So I thought that was very, very interesting. That's why you see card draw on stuff like him, and then card draw on stuff like the Swordwise Hustle that I just showed.
So like fundamentally right now in the card game world, and I know we have a lot of listeners who are jumping into the TCG world with Cyberpunk. And hopefully they appreciate when we get to provide a little bit of like outside context to color their view of how everything kind of fits in together. But one thing that we see with people who pay a lot of attention to card game mechanics, new card games coming out, etc. There's a very vocal segment of people who only ever want a card game to draw at least 2 cards per turn as a default rule. And they'll be like, if you only draw one card per turn, I'm not interested. Especially if it's a game where you play a card as resources. So theoretically, every single turn you are drawing one card, but you're using at least two because you put one card down and then you play one card from your hand. And when a game is structured that way without a proper amount of card draw to kind of back that up, it pretty easily gets to the stage where by about turn 5 or 6, you tend to be down to almost no cards left in hand. And your options get really thin. And especially if it's a game where only certain cards can be resourced, you start to really feel a lot of squeeze. That was something where I'm not a hardliner like a lot of people, but it was something I was watching in the game because I remember when Lorcana first came out, not to dredge up episode three, I think, of the podcast.
Oh, yeah.
But when Lorcana first came out, the Disney card game, I felt that way. And I talked about that in one of my early reviews of the game, with that I was playing Constructed online just to get a feel for it. And it felt like if I didn't draw the card where you would like discard your hand and draw a whole new hand, I felt like I just ran out of stuff to do into that mid to late game. And I didn't have cards available. So all that's to say, I'm very happy that that is a thing that they recognize, because a card game doesn't necessarily have to have draw to as a built-in mechanism, but it does need to have sufficient options to be able to continue to flow through your hand. And you just have to deck build in a way where you go, I probably should have some cards that draw some stuff in here so I can keep things flowing, because otherwise you run into a situation where the only playable archetypes early on in a game are the ones that can fit in the card, the like de facto best card draw thing. A Whole New World at the time in Lorcana was the name of the song that drew your hand. You'd have a game where it's like, well, if you don't play that, then you're just kind of run out of stuff to do. So yeah, that's really just nice to hear. And it makes sense because we keep reading the cards and be like, yep, that draws. That's cool. And some are discarding too, which is like pretty interesting also.
Yeah. I agree with Dan. I also tend to prefer games where you get to draw multiple cards a turn. Some of my favorite games of all time, like WeCross, where you just draw 2 a turn, which I think is really fun. I will also say that, again, I just said it was really fun, but that is also a factor. I think it's just more fun in general. Games that let you draw more cards it's just a fun thing to do. People like drawing cards in games, and at the end of the day, even if you're playing like competitively, you're going to be enjoying it a lot more if you're having fun, and drawing cards is fun. And so yeah, they did add a lot of card draw. So like we see like the new Evelyn Parker that is just on attack you draw, and then if you have more street cred than your opponent, you have to discard. So that it's one of the ones that rewards you for having lower. It's a blue card. A lot of blue cards are like that. And then the other one, Floor It, give a rival unit -1, draw a card. Pretty solid. This card, I don't know if this was already spoiled or if it was new, but the reboot optics to like blank an attack was actually really sweet. This card is cool.
It's thematic finally.
Yeah, blind him. It's a quick hack. It says quick. The next time a rival unit fights this turn, it doesn't defeat the opposing friendly unit. So if you have like a blocker out, it can make your blocker like quite annoying. Or if you have something that's just really like a big threat, and your opponent only has like maybe one attack to deal with it, blanking their attack is like pretty good, and it actually could end up winning the game with these demo decks to specifically. So anyway, yeah, we played, we chatted a bunch. Richard did end up winning at the very final. We went to like we did the full dice roll. I do have a couple of things I want to note talking about the gameplay experience, and I very much want to play a lot more with these to see how I exactly feel. But I feel like this is one of the games, at least the game that I played, aggro felt weird. And so Richard ended up winning. I was an early aggressor, but I was so aggressive that I just had nothing to steal. I stole all of his dice, and I had units that couldn't do anything. And I was like, wait a minute, this is weird. This feels weird. Because in any other game, I just hit you face, right? I turned my Goblin Guide, punch you in the face for 2. Mm-hmm. I stole all of his dice, and I still had like units to attack with, and he didn't have any guys I could attack, so I couldn't attack into his like units either to get like trades. So it's an interesting thing, and I think that's something I'm going to be keeping an eye on going forward for the Cyberpunk TCG, especially as we get into like constructed games and decks become more optimized and streamlined, especially for aggro. And I noted this, and I kind of like was talking to one of the other developers for the game, and he said that he thinks that the first set might lean more towards mid-range and control rather than aggro like a lot of other TCGs. And after playing with these updated demo decks, I can totally see that. Like I said, I like aggro too hard. Like I should have, I mean, this is my first time playing with them, but I definitely should have like pumped the brakes and tried to do other stuff instead. I ended up losing partially because we were like running out of time. We were just chatting and running it. So we were just going really quickly for the last couple turns, just like kind of like blasting through. And I actually had sandbagged a reboot optics that would have saved me, and I would have been able to like swing back and get a nice little turn. But Richard had a card that I had never seen before, and I think it was just spoiled. This card's called Over the Edge, and he played this, and I was like, what the hell? And I read it. I'm like, what the hell is this? It's a 3-cost removal. So the 3-cost red program has 2 red ram. It's just a Merc program, and it says defeat a unit with power equal to or less than the value of a friendly D20. So it's an extremely powerful removal, but only if they have a D20. It's only 3 costs, so it's a 3-cost hard removal, and yeah, he was able to blow up my dude, and he got there. Like I said, I was sandbagging the reboot optics because I knew he could attack into it. And I was banking on him attacking into it, rebooting, and then him having to attack more. But he just killed my guy. He just killed my guy. And so it was fun. I very much enjoyed it, and it did create like this cool narrative experience that I had, which is something that I also kind of look for sometimes when I'm playing a TCG. Like, do you have a fun moment, even if you lost? Do you have like a moment that's memorable to you? And this moment stood out to me because I was like, I planned ahead. I was like, "Oh, I got this. And then he played a card that I'd never seen before and killed me. Overall, my experience with the demo decks was pretty good. Like I said, aggro felt weird. I definitely want to play a lot more to see how things kind of shake out, knowing that and kind of like playing with that in mind. The Arasaka deck felt a little stronger than the Edge Runners, and this is something that I actually heard from a couple other people. Yeah, so I was playing with the weaker one, but after looking through and really like analyzing all the cards, the Edge Runner deck is much more. What's the right word for this? It's a little bit slower. If you had to categorize each deck, this one feels more like a control style deck rather than this one. Even though I was going aggro with it, when you actually kind of look through the cards, it does feel more controlling. You have more like combat tricks, shrink effects, protect your guys. You have more stuff that reward you for blocking. So you have blockers, but you also have stuff like the flathead that has can be unblockable. It does look like it's built to be a more on the controlling side of things. This is the one that also has the cards that let you look at your legends. It has the one that gives blocker to some of your guys. Whereas the Arasaka deck, make unit big, attack face, draw card, type stuff. Satori, attack guy, draw card. Minotaur's still here, kill guy. So there's like there is. This one does feel a little more straightforward, is basically what I'm saying. Whereas I think the Edge Runner deck does feel a little bit, more controlling.
It's pretty common for games when they try to differentiate a couple of decks for a setup like this, demo decks, a starter deck set or something. It's pretty common for one deck to be a little bit more straightforward and the other to be a little bit more technical. And funny, Kel and I were just talking about this pre-recording about another card game, but it's also pretty common for the reports early on to be the straightforward deck is the strong one. And then as people start to understand the technical play of the other deck, they start to find, oh, wait, actually, once you really know the game, this deck is actually the stronger one because you have learned how to properly play around your opponent's thing, because the deck is built around playing around your opponent's things. And if you don't play around them, but you play cards that are only good when you play around them, then you aren't actually playing cards that are as good, right? But we'll see. We'll see if that ends up being the case.
Yeah, I'm not even sure if either of them is stronger than the other. I think it's just one of those things. Like I mentioned multiple times, I'd just like to play with them a lot more and try different stuff, knowing what I know now after kind of like giving them the full look through. Because literally we just sat down, shuffled up, and we just went. And Richard was just like, "Hey, have you played with the new rules very much?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I played a few games." He's like, "Okay, cool." And then we literally just played. We didn't actually do the full demo thing. So I personally actually didn't have like the demo experience. I just played a game with Richard and we just chatted. And some of the other Cyberpunk WeirdCo crew came by and we were just kind of like talking. A couple other things I want to note, because it's something that I've mentioned a couple times on the podcast. Hey, we have Takamura again. So we have the Goro, the updated Goro card finally. I like this one a lot more. I think he's actually good now. So if you haven't read it yet, because I think all these cards have been spoiled, even if they weren't beforehand. I think they are spoiled now. So he's still a 4 cost. Requires 3 green ram. He's a 4+ unit. He's Arasaka and Corpo. And then, interesting, he has an on attack trigger. So it's not like on your turn, it's specifically on attack. On attack, if all friendly legendaries are face up, this unit gets +5 power this turn. So it's similar-ish to his old effect, but it's a bigger effect, right? It's not just a static +3 on your turn, but it's an on attack trigger of getting +5, which is interesting in a couple ways, because if you can attack multiple times with this, then it would trigger multiple times since it's an on attack trigger. Very cool. And then the other thing is that he has a base attack of 4, and then the pump is a 5, which brings him up to 9 if you have all 3 up. And if one of them is Saburo, that makes him 10 with just Saburo. So he is a 10 attacker. He's a 4-cost 10 attacker with just Saburo and the rest of your legends up. So I think he's actually quite good now. So he is no longer worse than Delamain Cab. He's actually like pretty good. So I've come around. I think they made him good. Yeah.
That, by the way, the new one is so cool in the deck that I designed in our previous episode. The where I'm trying actively to flip all of my legends, and I want to attack with him multiple times. Like, that's so neat. I love that.
Yeah. And there's a couple other cards in here that, once again, I'm not 100% sure if they were spoiled before, but they're like simple, but I really like them. So Field Operator. I really like this card. It's super simple. I really like it. It's just a 3 cost. Arasaka Corpo Techie, only 2 power, 2 green ram. On play, if your street cred is an even number, draw a card. I love little cantrip dudes. I think these kind of cards are super good. Like I mentioned before, how are they just adding more card draw? But stuff like this is super sweet. Play the dude, immediately replaces itself, and you have like a 2 power body. Pretty solid. So overall, gameplay wise, it was an interesting experience with these. Like I said, I kind of like over aggroed, but I think it was much better experience and a more interesting experience than the initial alpha kits, like for sure. And I would love to hear if folks that are listening to this, if you got a chance to play with these. I think they have them available to print and play now as part of their print and play. If you've had a chance to play with these, let us know in the comments of this video, like what you think of these. I've only gotten to play very minimal with these, but so far they do seem very interesting. And I also really like some of the new artwork they're putting on these, like the Mantis blades. We already saw the new artwork for this, but seeing it in person is very cool. Go ahead.
About the card quality of the demo decks.
Yes. So that's the other thing. And I'm going to preface this. Maybe I should say after. I'll say it after. I think it's better if I say it after. Okay. So the demo decks, the card quality isn't good. I'm just gonna be blunt. It's not good. And here, let me just hold up. I did this before. Here, here is it's hard to tell. Maybe if I angle a little bit, you can kind of tell how like curved it is. So this is a non-foil V, and it's already like curved and like bending and pringled, as some would say. And you can see like maybe the whole deck. You can't quite tell as much for the whole deck. So the card quality in general, I think, isn't as good as the alpha kits. The cards feel thick, but they feel more papery than they do cardboard. They remind me of some other, TCGs out there that I would consider less quality than others. Now I say that, but these are demo decks, and so this is the thing that I wanted to say at the start. These are demo decks. I don't know if these are indicative of the final quality, so please just take that with a grain of salt. These might just be only demo deck quality. In fact, I have demo decks for another card game. We mentioned Grand Archive a couple times. I have demo decks for Grand Archive, and these ones specifically say these ones are not tournament legal, and these are not the same card quality as the regular cards. So that could be true for these too. These could also just not be the same card quality. But I will say they're not great. They're not great. For just like a demo, sure, it's fine. For the full retail release, I might be a little disappointed if this is the full final quality. I'll just put it that way. On the show here, I'm going to be honest 100% either way. So I had only great things to say about the WeirdCo team. I thought the gameplay experience was great. If a little interesting for me, it'd be really fun to play more. But yeah, the card quality is the only real like actual negative thing I have to say. And like it is like noticeably like curled. So
I was just doing a quick search through the Discord to see if at any point WeirdCo has mentioned this or anybody's been talking about this much. And I didn't, on my quick look through, find anything. So I'd happily take a comment from anyone down below who knows anything, especially someone from WeirdCo, about whether or not these demos are indicative of the final product. I have to, I mean, my guess would be no, just because we know that they just recently did the print of everything. And like, so I assume these had to have been sent off sooner and maybe were done differently than the final stock. And I really hope that's the case. I want to be very excited about the card stock. And I mean, I play other games that don't have the greatest card stock in the world either. So it's not like it's not a deal breaker for me. But I want it to be really cool, and I want it to be really good. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's very. Anyone who got these decks, you can tell immediately. It's like way more papery. It doesn't like when you flick it, it doesn't have that nice little like twang. It's got like a blunt, like papery kind of sound. Maybe if I really flick it, I can do it. But
well, you're gonna start enraging people. Hang on.
Yeah.
Put a sleeve on it.
Well, yeah, I mean, they also seem to, none of mine are like too dinged up, but I feel like these would also ding up like pretty easily. They're that kind of like, they're kind of like quality, you know?
Yep.
If you know, you know. If you handle a lot of cards, you'd know. Like, I feel like if you kind of like shuffle this without sleeves the wrong way, you could like jack up the corners pretty bad. And I didn't, honestly, like I mentioned this, I was so focused just on playing the game. And this is like, a very good sign. I was so focused on playing the game and just chatting with Richard about the mechanics. I didn't even think to ask him about the card stock. I didn't even think about nothing about like card stock or value or anything like that crossed my mind. I was only interested in gameplay and like card design. Mm-hmm. So yeah, maybe we can get a word from WeirdCo or if someone else has the information, but there's that. And like I said, like Dan said, I kind of don't think it is, but like I don't think it's the actual quality, but we shall see. I also got, and everyone did who participated, got one of the Rebecca promos. My lighting, I turned off my overhead because it's very hot in here, so I don't have like all of the lighting, but it is very nice. It's an interesting foiling. I did ask about this. So I did ask about the promo, and I was like, is this the kind of foiling that we should be expecting in the game? And the answer that I got was not clear. They basically said something along the lines of, we're trying a lot of different foiling types or something like that. It was something to that effect. So, yeah, it's okay. I would say this is not the same quality as the Alpha Kit foils. The Alpha Kit foils were nice and textured. This is just like a spot foil card. So it's a Rebecca, and then it's just surge
foiling. Well, yeah, kind of.
It's kind of like a cloud surge foiling kind of
like that
kind of deal. Yeah, it looks.
It's fine.
It's fine. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And this one also is a little bit curled. If you're curious about the. Yeah, you can kind of better tell if I angle it like that. You see the curvature a little bit. It is a little curled, but not bad. Not bad. The final thing that I want to mention that they did give me before I end, that I found afterwards that I think they didn't give this to very many people. I think On was saying that these are actually pretty limited. I actually got some of the dice that they were using for the demos, and so the dice are really interesting. I could tell immediately. I think I pegged these immediately because I felt them. And once again, I think these are a little less maybe nice than the Alpha Kit ones. However, I picked these up and I was like, these are really light. These feel like dice for like a starter deck. And they were like, exactly. And I was like, yeah, they're pretty light. And just kind of like a plasticky kind of dice. So I think these are fine as well. If this is the kind of dice that come in the starter decks, I think this would be, serviceable. And it's one of those things that having lighter dice in starter decks, you might not think as a big deal, but like in terms of like logistics, it could really add up. Like shipping costs, weight, all this kind of stuff could add up if they had like really heavy dice, manufacturing costs, shipping costs. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I got some of the dice that they were doing for the demo decks.
I expect the dice in the starters to be pretty simple. I mean, you're not getting dispel dice. They're
probably just going to be similar to this.
Yep.
And I was talking to my friend from TCG Player, and we were basically kind of like mulling over the same kind of deal. We're like, yeah, I think the price point for the starters plus like the dice feels about right. And I think the price point, I don't remember off the top of my head, was like between the $20 to $30, something like that, was going to be the price of the Cyberpunk starters on retail. I think closer to 30. But it does make sense with the added, peripherals and whatnot.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's basically it. I did kind of yap a whole bunch. I might have missed a couple things here or there, but I just want to say, it was great to just kind of like see the WeirdCo, hang out with them, chat, pick their brains about card games, card design. Talked a lot about Cyberpunk. Talked about just a bunch of stuff, and it was very. What's the right word? It was very confidence inducing. It's not really that, because I already had a lot of confidence in it, but it was great to see that. Reassuring, I guess, is a good way to put it, but I didn't need reassurance. It's not quite the right word, but
sure.
It was awesome to see that so many passionate people who genuinely care about card games are working on this game. If you have any other like qualms about like the intent or like the passion behind the team, I can just tell you, like, they're one of the most passionate teams I've ever met in TCGs. They all like genuinely care about what they're doing and are like, just, they love card games. So, I'm looking forward to seeing them again and hanging out with more of them. I spoke with a good number of their team, not just like one or two people, and they're all like awesome. So yeah, man. Like I said, the only negative thing I have to say is like the curling paper cards, but I don't really, once again, maybe this isn't even what they're going to be. So
yeah. We'll have to see, but thank you for sharing all of your experiences at AX with us, Kel.
Yes.
In about a month, I'll probably do the same thing, but with Gen Con. So we'll have we'll have another angle.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you'll get these same decks, but I'm curious to see what you have to say about them as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, Chooms, that's our main topic for today. Hope you found some of Kel's experiences interesting to listen to. Now, before we close out episode 13 here, like usual, we hopefully won't have the bad luck to miss jumping into our mailbag.
Call incoming.
All right, everyone, this week on the mailbag, we have a couple of questions to answer, but before we jump into that, a reminder, you can go ahead and submit a mailbag question for our next episode down in the comments below. Just say in your comment, it is from the mailbag, or if you're listening to the podcast on a podcast platform, you also can email us at cardrunners@maindeck.gg, and we'll just put in the subject, it's mailbag question or something, and we have the ability to add it that way as well. So I've got a couple of interesting questions here. This first question, Kel, this one's a little spicy. Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
This question, I almost thought about not including this, but I do think it's a really good question to answer. I just feel like it's one of these kind of like sort of leading questions, I guess. So I'll just read it out here.
Okay.
So Rada Oscar writes, mailbag statement. Hey guys, I backed the Kickstarter at a decently high price point, $2,800, because I fully bought in on the idea that WeirdCo would be supporting the collector community. Now it's been revealed that card number 5 of the promo set is locked behind going to one of 2 regional events, and promo cards 7 and 8 are locked behind an additional $175 pre-order, the thing we talked about in the banter today, on the CDPR website. So their question is, do you guys feel WeirdCo has unnecessarily destroyed a large amount of goodwill in their community? Also, do you think having a promo card selling for $500 before the game is released is good for the game? If so, why? I'll give you a break just for a second from talking, Kel, and I'll start answering.
Go for it.
I think that there are some people who do think this way about collecting card games. And I'm going to be completely frank with this one, for better or worse. I think that when you think about things from this angle, I really would recommend you consider a little bit, self-reflect a little bit on why you feel that way, I think is maybe the best way I can put it. Collecting something is not an entitlement to be able to have everything there within your grasp, easily out of the packs, whatever. It is the right of the company, and actually it is an extremely valuable thing for the company to do, to create special cards that are obtained in certain ways. We talked last episode a ton about promotional cards that are available in a variety of ways, from tournaments, whatever, that will help drive engagement, excitement, prizing when needed for the game to keep the game thriving. And it is very, very tough. And I understand this when you really, really like something and you want to dive in and you say, I want to have absolutely everything here. When the company tells you, yeah, but if you want this one, you have to win this tournament, or you have to buy this special product, or you have to go to this special event where only certain people are able to go to. I think it's awesome when some of those things can become more widely available. And I think it's terrible when some of those things are made widely available, because you can absolutely destroy any incentive and confidence you have in the company to create something that is worth your time to invest in trying to get. So one thing that you kind of have to do when you go into collecting a card game to a pretty deep level is you have to kind of just sit there and tell yourself, there are going to be some things that I might not be able to get, or if I want to get them, it's going to be appropriately expensive. And if you are really that interested in collecting everything for something, the glory to you of having this very limited thing is much higher. But if you feel like you're being priced out of collecting the rare promos at tournaments because they're rare and only at tournaments, you might not be in a great position to be collecting everything for that game right now. That's just kind of a hard reality check. I feel like that you might have to think about. Cal, am I being too harsh?
No. In fact, I want to ask you a question, Dan, because I can't think. So, Dan, can you think of a single trading card game that doesn't do that? Like any game that doesn't have like a World Championship exclusive card or
I'm trying here.
GP winning card that's exclusive to like top 4 players or something. I was looking around. I'm like, every game that I play, like there's like some sort of like regional winner card that's very valuable. There's only a couple copies. Like every TCG does it. I think you need to be realistic about this kind of stuff if you're going to get into trading card games. I think they are all like that. All of them are.
It's just the industry standard. And like I said, there are really good reasons for it. This is how they drive engagement. This is how they get people to fly across the country or across the world to go to events and build a community of excited players around this game. And this is how they get people to invest hundreds and hundreds of hours in practicing their game to be the greatest at it, to compete for things that have some amount of value to them. And I want to do benefit of the doubt a little bit here, that like, because again, we have these new chooms coming in who haven't really experienced a trading card game. Maybe all you've done before is you bought the collector's edition of some video games. And sure. you're like, yeah, I got the stuff. I bought the collector's edition. Why is it that for this game, I'm already in 10 times the amount I spent on a collector's edition for a game, and I don't have all of the things? I get how that can be jarring, for sure. If so, I guess it's just, that's how trading card games are.
Yeah. And I mean, even more so than that, I mean, a lot of games these days, if not all of them, will put like exclusive, like alternate art promos in, a product here or there, just to make it a more exciting product for someone to buy, right? Like most games do that, and some games do that a lot. If you're Magic the Gathering, good luck collecting all the Magic stuff and trying to get all the secret layers and everything. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, like my perspective on it is, I think just every TCG does it, and I don't think WeirdCo is doing anything different than what any other game does, either like fortunately or unfortunately, depending on your perspective. And so, yeah.
Yep. If you're coming in and wanting to have it all, you got to be prepared. There's going to be a price to all.
I'll say this: like when you go to a card game event and you rock up against the one guy whose deck is like max rarity, you're like, okay, this person is on another level of hardcore. Like this person is like probably either has way too much money than they know what to do with, or there's something going on in their head where they prioritize this above like everything else. And I'm always very impressed either way. So it's like, yeah, if you want to be that guy, just know it's like, you're going to be like the one guy who does it. I know from multiple games, it's the one guy who's got the max rarity, X deck. Yeah.
And my best advice is, again, like the other thing to make sure is really clear. The promo cards are not unique effects for the game. It's not like you're missing something, some
True.
game piece by not having this. And as long as that remains the case, you just got to you might have just leave your desire to have every alternate art thing at the door, because it's going to get expensive.
Yeah. Okay. Talking about mechanically unique promos is a whole other ballgame, like 100%. Completely different. Yep. I am extremely against that. I think that's a horrible idea, but I don't think they're doing that. I think they're just doing just all alternate art stuff, which is correct. Fine.
Yep. Yeah. But because of the way that Red Oscar here just said card number 5 and 7 and 8, I wanted to be 100% sure. Like, look, just so you know, you are not missing gameplay because you're missing these things. You might just want to say my collection is gameplay complete, and I've started to pick up some cool shiny cards that I want outside of that. But like,
what most TCG collectors, depending on how you define collector, is they'll focus on like one specific kind of thing, right? So for me, I would consider myself a player more than a collector, but I do like collecting TCGs, usually old dead card games. And so for me, one of my favorite games is an old dead Bushiroad game called Dragoborn, and I have a master set of that game, one of everything, one of all of the specifically booster set cards. I don't have all the promos. I don't want to deal with the promos. Mm-hmm. And so usually collectors will do stuff like that, have like a stipulation. I want a full master set of this particular set, or of all the booster sets, or maybe you're just like only the promos. Maybe you're like, oh, I only want the promos kind of thing. So most collectors will do that. Oh, they'll just pick a character. They'll be like, I want all the Lucy cards. And so I buy all the Lucy cards. And even if it's the $10,000 Lucy card, I'll buy that one too. Like I've seen people like that as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And it takes all kinds for sure. Just to make sure we answered the exact questions. Do I feel like WeirdCo has unnecessarily destroyed a large amount of goodwill? Not at all. Nope. I mean, zero, negative, maybe even on that. I think they've added goodwill at AX with the Rebecca promo becoming more available and everything. I think it's positive.
Yeah. I mean, like from my point of view, it's like, they're doing what every other TCG does. Maybe even a little bit better because they're more willing to like make them available to more people. Mm-hmm. So maybe if you're like maybe if you just want it to flip for money, maybe you're angry because it's not worth as much. But for someone who just wants to get the cards and like have fun with them or whatever, I think it's great.
Yep. And then the other question, do you think having a promo card selling for $500 before the game is released is good or good for the game? If so, why? I think it's neither good nor bad. I think it bodes positively for the excitement people have to collect and the potential value of cards, but that's where that can go either way, because that can either mean, wow, it's great, I'm going to collect these cards and I can open rare, valuable cards and it's really fun. Or this is awful because these cards are so wanted that scalpers are buying things and selling them at an inflated price. It's like, it's hard. It kind of doesn't mean a lot to me right now. It just means that people like the IP and maybe people have a lot of faith in it, but like, we'll see.
Yeah. I don't want to be super reductive. I was gonna be like, it means that it's 2026. And the game is popular.
Yeah. It is a popular IP in 2026.
That's what happens in the industry. It is. I agree with Dan. It's kind of like a wash. It is a double-edged sword. I think generally speaking, it's probably better because it does give LGSs more confidence to actually carry the game. And that's what you want at the end of the day. You just want some more stores to carry it. And if LGSs don't think they could actually make money on the game, then they're just not going to carry it. And that's kind of like the worst case scenario. If no store carries it, that's like worse for everyone. Dealing with scalpers is horrible. I've dealt it with like most of the games that I play and cover. Gundam notably was extremely scalped in the first like couple sets. It's cooled down now. All the scalpers went on to like Yu-Gi-Oh or whatever.
One Piece. They're in One Piece now.
Well, there was that whole like Logan Paul stuff and Yu-Gi-Oh for a moment. I don't know.
That was like a week.
But so like, I obviously scalpers are horrible, and I don't want to rant about that. I think they're a plague on my favorite industry. But anyway, overall, I think people being excited and wanting to spend money on stuff is generally a good thing. Even if I personally don't like the culture around it, I do like that it encourages stores to carry the game.
The way I'd phrase it is, it's good to a point. Like, it's great to see there's excitement right now, but there is a point where it's like, so think
about it the other way, right? If they were giving out like these exclusive promos and like, oh, here's our beautiful brand new promo, they're awesome, you can come get them, they're at these events, and they're like, no one cared. If they were like, they're
99 cents.
Yeah, like, or people were like tossing them in the trash or whatever. That's horrible. That's like literally the worst thing. So
we'd rather have this than that is ultimately where it is. But Rad Oscar, I mean, I think that was, I really appreciate, it was an interesting thing to make sure that I think we talked about. So I really appreciate your mailbag question that way. I would be curious to hear from you a follow-up as to kind of what you were, where you were going with this, because like I said, it did feel a little bit leading as far as like what the emotion was here. So I would love to hear more from you about what you were expecting to get out of Cyberpunk and how our answers kind of maybe informed you one way or the other about what you're expecting to get out of it now. One more question, just to end things off. I believe a questioner we've had in the past, Sean MM, asked, as someone who last played TCGs before sleeves were common, wow.
Okay. 1994? Even then.
I remember the early Ultra Pro sleeves with the Jester on them, and the gray stone brick box that had the little Jester pictures. Like, I remember the original Ultra Pro sleeves back in the day. Anyway, good times. What is the proper way to sleeve for a competitive event? I don't want to break any rules, but also want to protect my cards. Also, transparent sleeves so you can see the back of the card, or a solid color. I have heard solid to avoid being accused of marking cards, but transparent seems better to tell the difference between legends and other cards. Kel, you're so ready. Go for it. We're going to basically be locked in on this, so just you go for it.
You can use transparent sleeves if you want. It's a gamble, in my opinion. If you do have a card that's like slightly nicked on the back, and a judge notices it for like a deck check,
marked card.
Yeah, at the very minimum, you'll have to swap your sleeves anyway. At the most, you could get, functionally penalized for it. I
want to say some games straight disallow transparent sleeves, and we don't have the tournament regulations for Cyberpunk yet. So it might be once we have those that you just cannot use transparent sleeves. It just depends.
Yeah. My recommendation would be to find some fully un-see-through, fully opaque sleeves. Yep. My favorites are not the shill, but I'm an affiliate with Dragon Shield, but the dual mats, Dragon Shield dual mats, because I have black inside. They look really sleek, but they're also, you just can't see through them at all. So either way, you're like kind of good to go. For the wanting to differentiate between the legends and the eddies you put down, just put different sleeves. Just
two sleeves.
Just different color sleeves. Yeah.
Chooms, there are these cool Dragon Shields on the Kickstarter that have all these really awesome artworks on them. Just pick one awesome artwork for your legends, and then either do like solid color or another awesome artwork for your deck.
Yeah. I'm like, oh yeah, do Dragon Shields. Like, you don't know what they are. Yeah, of course. They were literally one of the partners for the Kickstarter. Sure. Yeah. So yeah, just do that. Just use different sleeves, specifically for the legends, right? Not for your main deck, of course. What other parts to this?
It's just, I think it was just, they don't want to break rules.
Oh, I do want to mention. So I don't know how they're going to do this for Cyberpunk, but it has come up in other TCGs that I've been playing recently that they don't allow triple sleeving. It hasn't come up for me personally, but it have come up in some of my videos that I did showcasing some of my decks, because I single sleeve with a character sleeve, like a Japanese character sleeve, is really, like very nice, or rare sleeve, and then I oversleeve it with a Dragon Shield oversleeve, so it still has a nice shuffle feel and it protects like the rare sleeve. And some people have talked about how like some people will triple sleeve with like an inner, a regular sleeve, and then an outer sleeve. And like, you're not allowed to do that with certain games. So there's that. I don't know what the rules are for Cyberpunk. I personally will probably just be single sleeving in Dragon Shields for Cyberpunk, unless I find some cool Japanese character sleeves that I want to use. Maybe I'll find some cool like anime Lucy sleeves or something in Tokyo sometime, and I'll look into oversleeving. But that's something to note. They might not allow triple sleeves. I don't know.
I know some games don't allow triple sleeving, but I don't believe anyone is specifically disallowing quadruple sleeving. So I'm gonna put as many on as I possibly get. Perfect. You got a perfect fit, a regular sleeve, you got an oversleeve, and then you put it all into a top loader, and then you put the top loader into what's called a team bag. And then you
oh my god, the cards are like this big.
You can't see anything anymore. There's too many transparent layers.
I have team bags here. They're like this big.
See, Kel's got him. Perfect. No, anyway, what I will actually probably do is I will use a monocolor sleeve for my main deck, because I prefer using I just prefer using colored sleeves for my main deck. I don't know why. Every game I play, I tend to prefer doing that. And then I will use some sort of artwork sleeve for my Legends with an oversleeve on top of it. And the reason I do that is because then they don't get shuffled into my deck easily. I can tell when if even though their backs are different, like
that makes sense.
It just keeps them separate and it's easier for me.
Because like when you do the oversleeve, it makes it slightly bigger, so you can actually just physically feel it out. That makes sense.
And to me, that just feels perfect. Plus, it protects the like artwork sleeves that I'm using or whatever a little bit more, because we are going to maybe be shuffling our Legends a little bit depending on how you're calling them. So. Or just roll die, like we talked about in the last episode. But yeah, Sean, I hope that's helpful. There are a lot of sleeve brands out there. Kel and I actually both are Dragon Shield affiliates, but I think there are a lot of fantastic brands. I would recommend looking at any of the many sleeve reviews on YouTube and try and figure out what you like the most.
Yeah, I've done like a good number of reviews for Dragon Shield sleeves. So if you want to see specifically the Dragon Shield ones we've talked about, you can check them out on Red Zone Rogue. They're actually some of my most watched videos. If I only made videos on what was popular on the channel, it'd be mostly like sleeve and deck box reviews. Those tend to do very well. But I have reviews of the Dragon Shield stuff there. And then, as Dan said, check out other opinions on other stuff for sure. Like, don't just watch our stuff. If you're curious about like Ultra Pro or whatever, Ultimate Guard. Gamegenic. There's a bunch.
At this point, there are so many sleeve brands. I could not possibly name them all. It's crazy.
I don't know if I can reach them. I have a bunch of Dragon Shields over here. My favorites, this is a little, once again, there is slight bias because I am affiliated with Dragon Shield, but my favorites are the dual mats. I absolutely love the dual mats. They feel really, really nice. They look really, really nice. They have the black inside, so they kind of frame the cards really well. Dual mats are like my go-to generic any game. They're fantastic. Specifically the colored ones. The art dual mats are kind of more rigid and they feel a little bit different. I've talked about this in my reviews. I don't like them quite as much. And they randomly smell like maple for some reason. But
so do Dragon Shield customs. That's actually a really good segue, because the one thing I wanted to make sure I mentioned is that you can also do customs through Dragon Shield's website. They just renamed their custom thing the Forge, and they added black borders as well, which is really nice. But Kel's got some there. I was going to show some of my favorite customs I've ever made for people to see. Yep. These are exclusive, folks. You're not going to get those Maindeck Dan surprised on an elevator or surprised on an escalator sleeves. That's not available in stores. But again, you can use either Kel's or my affiliate links. If you do order customs through Dragon Shield's Forge as well.
I as an affiliate with Dragon Shield, I'm actually getting some test prints of the new black border ones soon. So they should be arriving some point. I'll do a video on that as well.
Awesome.
I'm looking forward to those. I'm waiting for the day they put the black on the inside. So we'll see.
Yep. But anyway, Kel started this one before we recorded and said, I think this will actually be a short one.
It was. I talked way too much about AX. I guess I had a lot more to say than I thought. We'll have, as Dan mentioned, we'll have the opposite of this in a few weeks. We'll have his experience at Gen Con, and it'll be my time to just kind of chill, and then we'll have the Dan episode.
Yep. And I will also say I think this will be a short one, and it'll also be an hour and 40 minutes or whatever. So but I hope you all enjoyed another episode of Cardrunners. Like usual, Chooms, we're so excited because every week we get closer and closer to the release, and we keep seeing more of these card effects, and we keep going more and more wild over this card game. So
this will be the thumbnail.
Oh yeah, I was like, "What's he doing?"
He said more and more card effects. Like we actually don't know what she does.
What does she do?
What does she even do? What does she even do? Is she good?
Yeah,
maybe.
Probably really good. We'll have to see. But folks, tune in again next week for some more Cyberpunk TCG goodness. Thank you all so much for watching another episode of Cardrunners, and for Raquel, for myself, stay plugged in, Chooms, and we'll see you next time.
Later, everyone.